All right, let's go on the COVID-19 transition.
So, never a dull moment in the school COVID business. So today, additional guidance was sent out from the IDPH. If you look at the chart that Mary Ann has up, as you can see, our numbers are continuing to trend in the right direction. We are now in minimal under the color map in regards to where suburban Cook County transition. We moved from moderate to minimal. We still are moderate in regards to weekly suburban case rate at 86, but then everything else is in minimal, including our local area positivity rate. Our local area case rate is still in moderate, but again, our numbers reflect that it's safe to be open, safe to have our current model in place. Dr. Freitas will talk a little bit about the fourth quarter learning plan. Just wanted to provide a few updates. Vaccination. So we had 84 total staff members get vaccinated through Pillars. The first 50 are getting their second shot this week. The second 34 will be getting their shot right in the middle of the week of spring break. Just kind of how the timing worked out. So technically someone's considered fully vaccinated after 2 weeks after their second shot. So we should have those 85 staff members that went through Pillars should be considered fully vaccinated by about mid-April. Kristen has some additional data in regards to the total staff numbers vaccinated or percentage vaccinated.
85% of our staff members have received at least their first dose. As Dr. Skinka said, a majority of the staff will be vaccinated, fully vaccinated by the second week in April.
In regards to the new IDPH guidance, I will touch on that after Dr. Freitas goes into the fourth quarter plan and some of the points he wanted to talk to in regards to our COVID transition. But Dr. Freitas, why don't you go over your information, please?
Yep. Good evening, board members, parents, and students. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Skinkas and Dr. Smastana for always making the vaccinations, opportunities available to all the staff members. They reminded us day in and day out and provided many avenues for us to get vaccinated. So thank you, Dr. Smastana. Thank you, Dr. Skinkas. And thank you for all the staff members who have gone and received their shot. 85% is a high number. And we believe, by the time, maybe in a month or so, we should be, at 100%. All right, guys, fourth quarter is right around the corner. Guys, the survey is closed. Parents are asked to email my administrative assistant, Tammy Molo, if they have any questions or concerns about their learning option. Guys, our plan for fourth quarter was to keep the learning conditions and practice in place while strategically and safely expanding in-person learning opportunities. And our data indicated that we were able to implement the 4-day in-person option. If you guys want to scroll down to the next page so I can show you guys the data. So as of March 3rd, 781 families chose fully remote, 294 chose the 2-day, 494 chose the 4 days, and about 150 had no response. That's less than 100 now.
Mary Ann, can you move the thing so the data can be seen? It's on the bottom. There you go.
So as you guys notice, our job is to provide learning opportunities to students. We know that remote learning has worked for many families as indicated by the data. However, you guys see there that our families and students want more in-person days, and I'm glad that in a week we'll be able to provide more in-person learning days. For the fully remote learners, okay, you need to make sure you log in every day on Zoom or Google Meets. Guys, please consider turning on your cameras. I haven't mandated it, okay, for equity concerns. However, it does make a special connection between the student and the staff members. So to all the parents and all the students, guys, please turn on your camera if you feel comfortable to do so. Students and families, please check your emails frequently and consistently. Use the virtual office hours. And if anybody needs any help, your teachers, counselor, admin, we are here for you. For those students coming in for the 2 days, guys, we're continuing with the same model, okay? Make sure that you come on your days assigned. A through K, Tuesdays and Thursdays, if your last name begins with A through K. And if your last name begins L through Z, okay, Wednesdays and Fridays. Guys, remember, when you come in person, okay, you must complete the Raptor check form. And guys, please arrive on time, because, you know, we've noticed sometimes there's a line. Guys, we have to be on time. And if for some reason you're not feeling well, guys, please stay home. For those students coming in for 4 days for in-person learning, make sure prior to coming in, okay, you complete the Raptor form. Because I have my son in school, and I received a call from my son's principal. I've forgotten, so parents, please remind yourself. It's funny when a principal gets a call from another principal, okay? I've gotten that. I'm a human being, okay? But guys, please make sure you complete the Raptor form. It's very important. Guys, arrive on time. Please make sure you bring your ID. Also, if one of your classes is over capacity, you will go to the library possibly for a period on your non-alpha days, okay? You need your ID, bring your headphones, and you will use Zoom or Google Meets, okay? And if you're not well, again, please stay home. Parents, students, and the community, I've been communicating with you. I'll send an email Friday. We'll be sending messages this evening, tomorrow, and the following days for fourth quarter. Remember, fourth quarter begins on Monday, March 15th. That is virtual for everybody. We're keeping the same schedule. And then Tuesday through Friday begins our in-person learning opportunities. To address the achievement gap caused by COVID-19, the global pandemic, and just the history of providing more opportunities to those that need it, we've created English and math interventions to best support our students during the school day. Guys, moreover, I want to thank our staff for teaching our students invaluable skills during this pandemic, because there has been many gains. Students have learned how to use digital tools to write better, to read better, and to collaborate better. So I do want to thank all my staff for teaching our students how to learn in this digital environment and improve their skills. Currently, we're implementing targeted interventions for third quarter, such as permitting general education students with Ds and Fs and student-wide IEPs that need support to attend school daily. And next week, that won't even be an issue, because they'll probably be able to come for those 4 days. Attendance, we've been averaging about 200 students daily, but we'll anticipate a lot more come fourth quarter in a week. Guys, we continue to facilitate vaccination opportunities for all the staff members. Again, thank you to the district office. Lunches, grab-and-go lunches are still available. Okay, students can pick them up by the main entrance at dismissal. Athletics, we're currently streaming athletic contests live on 2 platforms. Any events on the main gym, you will go to the nfhsnetwork.com. And any events in the East Gym, in the field house, or in the pool, okay, go to RBTV Live. Currently, right now, currently we're allowing 50 fans, up to 50 fans in our main gym. However, in the other facilities, we're currently not allowing fans. For outdoor sports, more details will come out shortly. And lastly, RB, we're working on prom and graduation and Apollo Awards. There will be a prom. It may look a little different than we're used to, but we will have a prom. We will have a graduation. We'll do a little more than a drive-through. I know people appreciate it, and I want to thank my staff that did an outstanding job in making it happen. But we will be doing, a unique graduation, ceremony in person at our stadium. And of course, we're working also on the Apollo Awards. And Dr. Skinkis, that concludes my COVID-19 transition plan update.
Okay, so today at 11:32, we got an email from the State Board of Education with revised guidelines in regards to opening schools and operating schools. I think some of the revisions in the guidelines will allow us to definitely implement Dr. Freitas' plan for the fourth quarter, where students can come for 4 days a week. Some of the significant changes were the 6 foot has been reduced to 3 feet as long as people are the mandatory mask is in place, and the schools are also doing the 5 mitigating factors, which are masks, regular cleaning, encouraging hand washing, social distancing, and having a contact tracing platform in place. So we have all those. The 3 feet to 6 feet will help the current model of doing the 50%, because that should hopefully avoid having to use any of those blended rooms or any of those overflow rooms when we have students that are coming 2 days as well as 4 days if there's a particular class. Now that we can go with desks 3 feet apart instead of 6 feet apart, that that should help to avoid that. Even with the 3-foot requirement, we would still need to do 50%. We're not at a phase. We're not in phase 5 yet, where we could have 100% on campus at one time, because you still have to do the 3-foot minimum social distancing. However, there were some things that were included, just some quick fix things that I think will help the school continue to move forward. You know, in third quarter we got the 50% model in place. Fourth quarter we're going 4 days for the almost 500 kids that requested 4 days. You know, 794 roughly with between 4 and 2 days. In-person graduation will be able to occur. Outdoor venues will be limited to 20%, but you know, we think that we could pull off an in-person graduation with allowing only 2 spectators per graduate. As Dr. Freitas mentioned, there will be an in-person prom. It will be outdoors somewhere by the stadium with some tents and some things that him and his administration are planning, but that is allowed and is at the school's discretion. As long as you can still, you know, have the mask mandate and have ability to social distance, you can have some of those events now. We're still not at a point to where we can do lunches, so we will be continuing to stick with the same schedule for now, which is the 8 to 12:35 schedule with the remote on Mondays, with 781 students selecting to stay remote. It's obvious that some of our families are still don't feel that they're at a point where they want to be coming in, but we're going to need to start transitioning those families to it. So I thought to being able to come in person, and there's a part that talked about in the revised public guidance, and I'm assuming there'll be more guidance on this, but as we shift towards next year and through the summer, the remote option is going to become very limited. As vaccinations become regularly available, I would expect that the remote option will be for anybody only with a significant medical condition, which would be documented either through a 504 or documents through your medical provider. So the families that have elected remote fourth quarter, at this point we're not looking to pull that away from you, but you need to start preparing and being ready to transition back to a traditional school year in a traditional school setting. Because based on these guidelines, I do think in August we should be able to implement our traditional schedule. Beth has, Miss Augustine will be speaking shortly with Miss Lindquist. We have 5 lunch periods now in place. We used to have 3. We have 5 built into the master schedule now. And so next year when we come back with those 5 lunch periods, if we're still under the guidance that they're offering in here, they removed the 50-person guidance from the cafeteria model, but it has to still be 6 feet, all facing one way. So there's still some things some hurdles will be encompassing, but we think with the summer we should be able to plan through how we can do those 5 lunch periods, even if we have to use 2 venues like the main gym and the cafeteria. So we'll be working on that this summer so that we can pick up in August with our traditional schedule and hopefully be going 8 to 3 like a normal school year. I think that's all I wanted to cover right now. Really the biggest thing in there was the 3-foot to 6-foot and the elimination of the 50% to the indoor facilities during school hours only. So it did say sporting events still need to, and activities still need to follow the recreational guidance that's on the IDPH guidance, and that's indoor facilities are limited to 50 spectators, not participants, 50 spectators. Outside venues are 20%. So that provides a little more of an update. So that will allow us to have our marching band at the football games. We'll be doing a ticket system to allow parents and some visiting spectators to come to some of our outdoor events. I don't think we'll have any problem with capacity at soccer and lacrosse and some of those events. So we're beginning to start to see the transition back to some normalcy. So it's good news. You know, again, it's something that we start fourth quarter Monday. So, you know, as we continue to pick through these things and look at our current safety plans and what the revised guidelines say, if there's things that we can improve on, we'll obviously work with the building administration to continue to try to improve on some of those things. But that's the update right now from IDPH is released this afternoon.
Kevin, can I ask Are we still going to continue with our checking of symptoms at the door? Because wasn't that part of it as well, that they...
So they did remove the
that?
temperature checks. We will still do the Raptor check, and I would imagine probably for our first week or so, we'll ease through this, right? So we'll slowly start to phase out the temperature screenings.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, I'm just thinking with higher numbers in the building, right, like just the
Right.
ease of that process, but they did get rid of that recommendation. So,
Yes,
right.
we did see that, but we also don't want to be like, oh, people show up for work
Absolutely.
tomorrow. Because I do think there's some assurance from parents that selected the 4-day option and 2-day option for the safety measures we have put in place. The one-way hallways, or the one-way stairwells, and the line going down the hallways, and the things that we've been doing that to make it a safer environment. So we want to ease into some of these things as we continue to work through it. And you're also seeing there, some schools are experiencing, now that sports have kind of picked back up, there are some high schools in our conference and in the surrounding areas that had to quarantine whole teams already, because of some minor cases still coming out. So we're not completely, it's not gone, but we're moving in a better direction.
Well, the guidance from the state is all good news, right? They're lessening
Yes.
the mitigation factors, which
Not,
is...
I would use a different term.
Not mitigation.
The five mitigation steps are like the
Right.
requirements. They're not lessening any mitigation steps. They're lessening the 6 foot to 3 foot and some of the capacity limitations they have put on academic areas like a school cafeteria
Gotcha.
and athletic venues and some things like
Yeah,
that.
they're revising like some of the recommendations. not
Yeah,
mitigation.
adjusting
Right.
very specific
Gotcha.
stuff. That makes sense. So I have a question on the 2 days versus 4 days, right? So we did the survey and we have approximately 300 saying 2 days and approximately 500 saying 4 days. One, would we have capacity to do everyone 4 days? And I guess I'm trying to understand what the impact is going to be by having this sort of optional 2 days a week, right? So we'll have some students who will be here 2 days, some being 4 days. That's got to be a burden on teachers, I'm imagining, to not know who's going to be in the building any given day. So we asked for some feedback from people, but now we have, the fully remote option, and I respect that for the fourth quarter choice. But 2 days versus 4 days, like how is that actually going to work? And can we encourage the 2-day people to become 4-day people?
So the origins of the 2-day, was brought up, from, parents, students, and staff, right? When we went into 2 days in the second quarter, was working then. And now as we kind of began expanding our opportunities, there are people, families that have revolved their lives around the 2 days. It works for them, they're engaging. So we wanted to keep that, that option for the equity piece. Our teachers are going to have seating charts every period and every day. So they'll be able to track who's present and who's not. So they're going to look at their list. Tuesdays and Thursdays, you're going to have the A through K students. Wednesdays and Fridays, L through Z. So it is still orderly. And teachers, will know who's in the building based
that's
on
why
the
we
process that we have.
That's why we had them commit, so teachers know who's
Correct, yeah.
going to be where.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions, Ms. Salas?
No.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions?
Question? I'm excited about 4-day. We've been working diligently at this. I appreciate all the work your team's put in. Hector, I know it's been a mathematical equation of proportions, right? The algorithm, you might call it. But thank you. And I know there's 500 kids that are very excited about it. So it's going to be really great. And we'll keep moving forward, right?
That's right.
I'm glad that they relaxed that lunch program.